What's good, YouTube? DM Gaming here, guys. Hope everybody's having an awesome day, morning, evening, afternoon, night, whenever it is that you're watching this video. Guys, there was a podcast today that I watched today, and I'm going to put a link to it in the pinned comment down below. Okay, I want you to go and check out this podcast. Matt Brown was in it, and I actually have been reaching out to him. And hopefully we can get a collaboration with him later this month. I have to check in with him. He told me later in June, so we'll see. But something interesting that he mentioned, guys, is something that nobody's talked about once again, and that is with College Football 25 being a live service type of game. One thing that he mentioned in this podcast is that EA Sports is going to treat it just like any other AAA sports titles, be it a live service. And I actually kind of mentioned this in some really early on videos of EA Sports College Football 25, where, you know, making it, I didn't use the term live service, but we talked about how when you have these incoming freshmen who are coming in and JUCO transfers, well, the JUCO transfers will be on the roster. But the incoming freshmen who don't get redshirt, who end up being true freshmen, who didn't graduate early in the spring, they, you know, in older college football games, those guys just wouldn't be a part of the game. However, now they will. If you have a freshman who didn't graduate early, come in and becomes a true freshman, even if it happens later in the season, EA Sports will be able to put that guy into the game. Now, the opt-in, I imagine they would still do some kind of opt-in thing. They would have to pay them, of course. And you know, on the surface, that's not that big of an issue because it's not like you're going to have 5,000 true freshmen. You know what I'm saying? True freshmen are pretty rare. But needless to say, it's going to be in the game. Now, be mindful of the redshirt rules in college football, guys, in that if you have 4 games, they could play a total of 4 games before they redshirt. And that didn't used to be the case. You couldn't play any games before you was redshirt. You was either redshirt or you wasn't back when I was coming up playing college ball. But now you can play up to 4 games. And I don't know if it's full games. I don't know if it's quarter based, but you can play. You can play in actual games before your redshirt. And a cool note, guys, is that the game is also going to reflect that. That's another little tidbit there that most people hadn't talked about, is in Road to Glory, as well as in Dynasty mode. You're going to have to keep up with that because those freshmen that come in, you can throw them out there in the game, and after 4 weeks, you have the choice to redshirt them or not. You don't have to redshirt them anymore at the very beginning of the season. You can, but if you do then they're going to be redshirt, but you know, you can say, hey, this guy's on the bubble. I want to see what he can do. If he does good, you don't have to redshirt him, but just know you have 4 games. That rule is also going to be in the game. Guys, we are so close to 40,000 subscribers. If everybody that's watching this video subscribes, we'll probably hit 50,000. Do me a solid and do that, man. I don't ask for much. I've been bringing y'all this content. All I'm asking is a free subscription. Doesn't cost you anything at all. All you got to do is click a button. So Matt Brown in this interview was talking about this, and it's something that's really surprising to me that I never really thought about in the depth and the scope that he talked about it in. And with college football being a live service, simply because we haven't had the game out in a very long time. And when we did, a lot of things are different now. Even in the video game space, in the college football space, in the social media space, guys, things are way different. And I think it's really awesome. He even mentioned that EA Sports could even upgrade uniforms. Let's say Oregon breaks out this brand new uniform that they haven't worn ever, or it's not even in the game. If the school so chooses, they can get with EA Sports, and EA Sports said they are on board to get those uniforms into the game. And I think that that's really cool. Now, understand, getting this stuff into the game doesn't mean it'll be in there the same week. You know, maybe a couple of weeks after or stuff. That stuff takes time. Uniforms generally can be put into the game fairly easy because it doesn't mess with the coding. But another thing that he talked about was plays. if you get a team that starts to run a certain scheme, a certain play scheme that's not in the game, EA Sports, with it being a live service game, can put those into the playbook. They are willing to do that. Now, that, of course, is going to take longer because you have to get the coding right in the programming and stuff like that, as opposed to the uniforms just being a simple cosmetic upgrade. And that's not something out of the ordinary. In NCAA 14, as far as the uniforms go, they actually had DLC packs that came out throughout the life of that game that year that added new uniforms that these college teams would don. And I thought that was really cool. But of course, you had to pay for that DLC. Now, with it being college football, being a live service, more than likely EA Sports will just do it as a simple content update. Similar to Madden, whenever the Bengals had their white helmets, we got all those different kind of helmets and stuff like that, alternate jerseys. They don't charge you for that as DLC. It's just a simple free content update, which is really nice to see. So I'm excited to see that because you know somebody going to be donning some kind of uniform that EA Sports ain't got in the game. And it's cool to know that we have the possibility of getting those uniforms in the game, especially if it's one of your favorite schools. Also noting if you have big time players, freshmen that step up and end up being impact players, that will get updated in the game as well. Another thing to know with the game being a live service is that whenever you're dealing with players improving, because understand these players who are in the game who've opted in, we can adjust their ratings. Okay, that's one thing that's going to be off limits. Maybe their equipment will be the only thing that we can adjust, but you're not going to be able to adjust their name or their ratings with a live service. Let's say you have the backup quarterback for Georgia. The starter gets hurt, the backup has to play, but he balls out of control. They can give him a ratings increase. Okay. What's cool is that stuff is possible. That now we have a game that's going to reflect what we see on TV. You know, and before I was one of those people that was kind of bummed at not being able to edit ratings. But then I'm okay with it because it is just those guys that opted in. You'll be more than likely able to edit ratings of the players who aren't opted in, and that's fine, you know, so I'm cool with that. That's not a bothersome. It actually makes me have to play the game more realistic because, guys, I'd get in there and crank somebody's stats up to all 99 and ball out. I just didn't care. And that's the beauty of it, and that's the freedom of these types of games that we play, having fun with what you're doing. So understanding that this game will also be a live service, understand that we will get roster updates, you'll get a rating boost, you'll get uniforms added to the game, even plays and things like that added to the game. That's the positive side. The negative side is when you begin to add some of these things to a video game, there are issues. And also with it being a live service game, you're going to have updates to certain things. In NCAA 14, it was a certain play that we would run over and over because it works so well. You know, similar to now, these games now, they can go in there and they can patch it to where certain things don't perform the way that people can just run away with them and spam them on. Does that make sense? Also understand if there's any issues in the game where before there wasn't an update for these types of things back in NCAA 14. You really have just those types of updates like you do now. Now those things can be fixed, guys. So if there's something that's buggy in the game, simply send a message to EA Sports helpline. Let them know so that we can get it fixed as opposed to just, oh, this game is broken. Because remember where we live now, the time you can get that stuff fixed. Now, don't be like Madden. Do not be like those Madden fanboys who only play head-to-head online. Like, that to me was the biggest deal because, and I don't know why EA Sports would do this, but, you know, they have their reasons. Instead of just patching stuff for Ultimate Team, they patch it for the entire game. No. And I think later on they actually did start patching it only in Ultimate Team and stuff like that. There was a game I played with Destiny. It was very similar. The PvP, the player versus player, people would complain about stuff and Bungie would patch it for the entire game, including PvE, and it didn't make sense because it wasn't an issue in PvE. So Ultimate Team is not a big deal in this game, but I know people are gonna be playing online dynasty modes together head to head. And guys, be careful about what you complain to get fixed. Now, and I think EA is smart enough to know if the consensual populace are saying that, hey, this is an issue, we'll get it fixed. But guys, if somebody's beating y'all on a certain play and you just not good enough defensively to stop it, that's not a reason to complain. I don't think we'll run into a bunch of those issues simply because in a game like college football, it's very similar to the Dragon Ball games like Kakarot, where you don't have balance. And what people don't know, if you don't know what that means, in your traditional fighting games, say like a Mortal Kombat, you have what they call balance, where mostly all the characters are on the same strength level. They take away kind of the same amount of damage. You may have a few like bosses that tend to take off a little bit more, but for the most part, everybody takes off the same amount of damage. That's called balance in a game. Whereas opposed to a game like Kakarot, where Super Saiyan Blue Goku is infinitely more powerful than a Krillin, and it shows when you're in the game as well because he takes off massive amounts of damage. That's called not having balance. College football and Madden are those two. In Madden, because you're on the NFL level, everybody is good. That game has less balance. Does that make sense? Your teams are, for the most part, fairly equal. Yeah, you got some dominant teams, but for the most part, it's the NFL. Anybody can lose on any given Sunday. That's a movie. And in college, it's kind of like Kakarot, where there's not balance. Alabama should not in any way lose to a Kennesaw State. Does you get what I'm saying? And the game is going to reflect that. Can it happen? Yes, but it is rare. And when it happens, it's a big deal, especially in dynasty mode. And you can tell it's the same way in real life. If Kennesaw State was to beat Alabama, the sports world would shut down, similar to how Appalachian State knocked off Texas A&M last year and Michigan several years ago. So you get what I'm saying? So as far as certain plays and things not working, I'm sure EA and the college football team are going to take those things into account as to what teams are being played against each other. And is this just a depth chart or a personnel issue, or is this a game breaking issue? You get what I'm saying? So let me know what y'all think down in the comment section down below as far as it being a free service game type deal. It doesn't bother me any. I'm actually excited about it because, like I said, any new uniforms that we kind of see, we'll get that in the game, and roster updates and things like that. Because I got a couple of guys from East Texas that are going to be playing at these schools, and if they get to be true freshmen, I would love to have them in the game. Guys, that's all I got for right now. I hope y'all have an awesome day. I have not forgotten the Freshman 100. We got Auburn coming up next, guys. Till next time, y'all. Thanks for watching. Peace.